Your host, Gil Ascarati, the real estate agent to the stars, and you're all stars to me. Real Estate Radio LA is dedicated to real estate right here in Los Angeles, this crazy little town called Los Angeles and all the changes that it's done. So it's a real estate show about LA. We talk about the economy, what's going on politically, but how this affects you and me right here in our market. I'm a 25-year veteran of the real estate industry. Been an agent, an owner, an investor, fixer, flipper. I've done it all. I've evicted and I've been on both sides of the law. But this is Real Estate Radio LA. I am in charge of saving the American dream one show at a time because, ladies and gentlemen, the American dream is under attack politically. By the laws, it is being stacked against the landlord, and the tenants have a lot more rights than the person who invested in the property. So my DRE number is 0129-8646. This show is for information and entertainment purposes only, not intended to give you legal or business advice. So please consult your local professional, your qualified professional to give you some advice, and you call me before you get sued. Anything to do with real estate. So I have been after this guest for a little while. I've been stalking him for the last couple months, and I've always looking for really good, useful stuff that I can learn and teach and talk about. And it was actually a caller called me and told me about Jeff Fowler. He's my guest today. He is the president of the Apartment Owners Association of California. Jeff, welcome to Real Estate Radio LA, buddy.
Thanks, Gil. Thanks for having me on.
You didn't feel stalked, did you? Like I was, you had a lot of stuff going on. We're like, hey, just whenever you can, thank you for doing this because it really is something that I've been wanting to do for a little while. And first of all, tell me a little bit about you, the person. And I like to do that because I always say, who's the messenger, right? Why should we listen to you? And then when we talk about LA, tell me about where you were brought up, where'd you go to school, and then we'll start from that.
Great. Yeah. So I grew up here in Los Angeles, and my dad has been a real estate investor from the beginning. So I started just mopping floors for a property management company and just grew up here. And then I spent some time in Texas studying. I went to Baylor University and got a business degree. And then I spent a lot of time overseas, actually, starting a company and doing some other things out there.
I know, and I want to talk about that because it just blew my mind when we were talking the other day. So you're a Valley guy, right? You're living in the Valley, San Fernando Valley now?
That's right. Yes, sir.
And then you've been here. So you've been here most of your life. You were brought up here. You went to high school here. You traveled abroad. You went to Texas, and you came back.
That's right.
And you got you got married, and now
met my wife in Korea at a Korean language school, and so that was an interesting place to meet an American who is part Korean and part American.
And you have three kids. Why don't we give them a little shout out?
Yeah, my daughter's having her birthday just yesterday, so shout out to her. Going to be heading out to watch a movie with her and some of her friends today, so that'll be great. And we have two boys. And it's just so awesome to have kids.
Well, you and I, hit it off the first time we talked for about an hour. And my introduction to people usually at a party or business is, I've got a radio show about real estate. Oh, really? And what channel? And the first thing I said, do you know Dennis Prager? And that tells me where this conversation is going, right? They go, oh, yeah, I love Dennis and Prager you. And that's how you and I hit it off. And we found out we got a lot of stuff in common. You're a patriot. You're God-loving, God-fearing. But that's always my intro. And then they go, oh, no, Dennis, he's a fascist crazy man. Okay, thank you. Nice. Next. But you and I hit it off. We were talking for an hour. And then you told me your dad started this business, which is the Apartment Owners Association of California, about 40 years ago, way ahead of the curve. So your dad started the business, a family-owned business, back in the 70s. Tell me how that sort of evolved.
Right, yeah. So back in the late 70s, as you know, they passed rent control for Los Angeles. And so in the fight, in the opposition to that, Howard Jarvis, my dad, and obviously a host of others really organized and had protested against that and tried to lobby to stop that from happening.
Personally, you guys were working with Howard Jarvis? Your dad?
Yeah, so my dad would organize like an event at the E-Bell and different things. He would be able to tell you more about it. You should have him on later.
Hey, I love it. He's 87 years old, correct?
That's right, yes.
And every time you talk about him, there's a lot of pride there, and I really love that because I work with my mom. She's 84. They're getting older. Your dad still comes in the office one day a week, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he's my best mentor by far, and sometimes you wish he wasn't right, but he just is right most of the time.
He's always right. Yeah. Oh, my mom's always right.
Most of the time. Hey, I did qualify.
All the time. But I love that. So Dan Fowler, correct?
Right.
87 years old, and that's a little shout out to you, sir, because you've done a great job not only in your business. Your son is a very impressive young man. And we are here talking about the association. So I'm just going to rattle off some stuff that you guys do for $97 a year. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have 1 unit or 100 units, it's $97 a year. What do you get for that? You get rental forms, you get free advice, a free magazine, free live seminars, low-cost tenant screening, property management software, referrals to contractors and lawyers, trade shows, and you can literally call in and get advice, or you can walk into the office. And I literally go, is that $97 a month or a year? And you guys have thousands and thousands and thousands of members, and this is just a California thing. It's not a franchise. Your dad started from the ground up. So congratulations on that. Tell me, what does a member really utilize there? Like, what's the biggest demand when a member calls you and says, I need help?
Right. Yeah. Mainly they're there for the forms. There's the lease agreements, all the addenda, those different things that you need, and it's put together in a way that is easy to use. And then just calling for property management advice and just to understand what your rights are. And lots of times we're referring people on to attorneys that'll help them a little bit more than what we could do.
And that's great too, because so many times, they call me after the fact and say, I got a tenant, we're having some problems. I said, send me the paperwork, and they send me like a 3-page lease agreement. I go, so anything else? Any other addendums here? I mean, this is LA. I mean, there should be, when I do it, there's 75 pieces of document that's saying you are not suing me for any reason, and the addendums are left out. So you give them the forms, and you sort of help them through the process of understanding, and then when it's time to get a lawyer, you say, here, let me refer somebody to you.
Correct. So people are either joining based off of a recommendation or they already have a headache. That's usually what happens.
Right. So then they've got a headache, and you refer them out. And you're just going to be that first call, because I tell people all the time, if you need a painter, if you need a referral, if you need a contractor, you guys also have that. And I want to talk about how vendors can be a part of it. So when somebody calls up and says, I want to do an ADU, or I want to paint, or I want a contractor, you have people that you can refer, but you vet them a little bit, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we do vet them. So, yeah, we have tons. Like if you look at our magazine, and you can see it there online, but there's a whole list of every topic, and you can just find those people pretty easily. But yeah, the way we vet them is that we make sure that the business license that they're giving us is actually theirs. And then just recently, we also started doing a business background check. So that gives us more information. And that's kind of costly, but it's just one of those things we felt like if we do this, look at the Google reviews. If their Google reviews pass, then take it to that next step. And just doing that will help our members have a little more trust in it. And we're doing that for new ones, and there's more to it. But, yeah, online, soon you'll be able to see an approved check mark for those that pass that vetting process.
And that's really cool. That's great, because a lot of times people are just afraid, and then all of a sudden they go to your Home Depot and pick up a painter, and they're getting sued, because that is very dangerous. If you are doing that and you're going out and you're picking up somebody, perfect stranger, you think they don't have papers, let alone insurance or a business license, and they sometimes take the money and run. So I love that, because It is a referral process, and it's sort of a reflection on you. And a lot of times, you and I talked about this before. When I give a referral, it's a personal referral, and sometimes things go wrong, and you and I would come in and sort of mediate and say, "Hey, guys, come on, you guys are both. Everybody, calm down. Let's figure this thing out." And you do that too, right? Before it evolves.
Right. So the advertisers, they know that. So we just ask our members, "Hey, tell them that you got this from AOA," just so that they know up front that there's a little more accountability on this one than maybe on a different project.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? And then tell me what else is like in big demand. Like so the forums, right? These are people that are newbies or somebody that also has 100 units, because you had this one thing on there that I thought it was really interesting: property management software. People don't realize real estate is a business. So that's part of the $97.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, because it's low-cost tenant screening and low-cost property management software. So there is a subscription fee additional for that, but it's really completely, basically, it will do the bookkeeping for you. If you enter in the information, the lease information, it's going to generate balances for all of your tenants, and tenants can pay online, and so there's a whole lot there, and it just makes it digitizes everything, and it makes it a whole lot easier for you.
All right, so now they can pay online. So that is actually really, really good. And then I love this, the low-cost tenant screening. This is $15, ladies and gentlemen. This is for a credit report, a criminal background report, an eviction, and you got another one that's a little bit more expensive. But isn't it amazing, because I've been doing this for a long time, how people just don't really vet the tenant? Mm-hmm. Big mistake. So for $15, you have, tell me what you get for $15, and then you have another one. It's $24. Yeah. It's not even that much bigger.
Right, yeah. So the $15 gets you the full credit report, the instant criminal report that's nationwide. It gives you a previous address history, which helps you line up the things that you are seeing in the criminal report, and the 2 eviction reports. It's actually 2 different companies. We call it the double whammy. No one else does it. And then we have the Telecheck, which is a database, the largest database in the country of bounced checks. So all that's $15, which is insane. We probably should be charging more, but we're not. But I really want to say one of the big things, if you're in LA County, they've redacted the date of birth from the criminal records, which makes it impossible for Zillow or any other company to report criminal history to you. And so we really strongly encourage everybody to also run the single county criminal report, which does allow for that verification and allows us to report that to you.
And that's $24. So they should do that anyway. And and if you understand what he just said, ladies and gentlemen, it is one of those situations where you can't confirm that this person is the same person, especially if they've got a common name, because they won't even give you their date of birth. Jeff, we're going to take a quick break right now. We got a lot of stuff to go through. You've been wonderful. Give me 1 second. We're going to have a quick little commercial about me. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio LA. You can find me on realestateradio.la.com, and you can call me. Take out your pen and paper right now, because I'm going to give you information on how you can get a hold of Jeff, how you can get a hold of me. We are a valued source. This is very interesting to me, and I've been doing this for a long time. I hope this is interesting to you guys. So while we took the break, Jeff and I were talking, and we were talking about how you can report an eviction, right? Because I heard that there was this freeze or something that you weren't able to report evictions. And Jeff, you told me something that literally blew my mind. It's probably, no, I'm not going to say probably. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Explain that to me.
Yeah. So when there's an eviction, it goes through, it becomes a court record. It's frozen for the first 60 days. So we can't report that. There's not another tenant screening company out there that can report it for those first 60 days. And that's obviously when they are moving into another property.
There you go. When I say the American dream is under attack, I'm telling you right now, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. These people they squatted for a year, 6 months, whatever it was. They tortured the landlord. They make him get an attorney. They get evicted, and it doesn't show up on their record for 60 days. So the very next landlord has no idea that this is going through.
Right. Right, and that's why you want that previous address history. That's why we provide that, so that you can call these people, call the owners directly and see.
I love that. We actually had somebody come to my office one time. This is, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago. And she was telling me, I said, so why are you moving out? She says, oh, because they sold the house and blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, okay, when do you get, and she's like sort of in a hurry. And I always say, you lease slowly, you evict quickly. So why are you in such a hurry? She gives me the address. I end up knowing the real estate agent. I call him up, and there's certain things we can say and not say. Right? There's certain, you can't say, this person doesn't pay, this person's a bad person, this person, you can't, because you'll get sued. He just said, Gil, I can't talk about it. And I said, what does that mean? I can't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Sort of like a wink over the phone. I go, really? He goes, yeah, really. Found out they got evicted and it was nowhere reported, and they lied on their application. So I was able to keep their little deposit that they put down. But people lie. I don't know if you guys know this, but people lie. I told you this the other day that we had a client. I was leasing her house out. She calls me up the next day. She said, hey, Gil, I leased out the house. I said, what are you talking about? I'm your agent. You don't make that. She goes, yeah, I took the check. The guy shows up in a Maserati and a credit report. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a fake credit report.
Yeah, and Gil, that's a really good point. That you rejected them because they falsified information on the report, not the fact that they were evicted or the fact that maybe there was a criminal record. So that's also a key way to do that, and it avoids lawsuits when you do it that way. That's a great job there.
Hey, Jeff, for some reason it's really clicking a lot now. It clicked like 10 or 15 times that way. So I don't know what it is. Move your telephone cord. That's not it.
Yeah, I think it's hitting the desk. Let me pull up the phone a little more so that it doesn't click on the side.
So we'll take off from there. Yeah, so we'll take off from there. So you were saying that. So when they sign this application under perjury, under penalty of perjury, which absolutely means nothing anymore, but she actually said, hey, I want my $65 back from my credit report. I said, no, you lied. You lied. End of discussion. I won't do it. Not because of $65. It was because I will not do it on principal alone, and I almost got my client into a bad deal, and I was able to do it. So we got to know where the heads up are. So I love that. Thank you for explaining that to me, because that had me crazy for a little while. Also, tell us about the deposit. What's changing, and that's coming up, and we got to let people know that there's a security deposit limit.
Yeah, state of California. It's AB 12, and basically, right now you can get up to 2 months of rent for the security deposit, but starting in June 1st of 2024, that changes to just 1 month. And so that's really, we're already kind of on the ropes here and have lost so much money with the COVID pandemic, and now this is just another shot, another body blow for all of us rental property owners.
Another gut punch. But is this for multi-residential or single family?
Right, yeah, and this does apply to those who have 5 units or more.
Okay, so good. So I'm glad we clarified that, because I didn't know about that. So I always tell people, if you're renting out your house, at least a month and a half. Because if they don't pay you the last month's rent, you don't have a deposit. So if it's $4,000, I ask for $6,000. If they got bad credit and they got pets, I ask for $8,000. So you can still do that. Up to 4 units, get a month and a half or 2 months, right?
Right, up to 2 months. If it's furnished, it's 3 months.
Very good. So 5 units and above, it is only 1 month of deposit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you start off wrong and you ask for more money, you are so behind the 8 ball, because, again, the deck is stacked against you. They get a lawyer. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. They can almost get a point where you got to give them all their rent back, and it's because you broke the law from the beginning and you didn't know it. So be careful. And I'm glad you clarified that. Here's another thing that I think a lot of people don't do is renter's insurance. What percentage would you say, and I'm not going to hold you to it, just if you threw out a number, how many landlords make it part of the lease agreement that the tenant has to get renter's insurance?
Yeah, the AOA lease agreement, it says it has that in there, so we're expecting that all of our members are doing that. But yeah, for the general community of apartment owners, I would maybe 20%.
And I would agree with you. It's a low number. And it's something I make it mandatory. It's actually good for the tenant. It's $20. I don't know what it is now because insurance, we were talking about, insurance has gone up so much, and so many of these insurance companies have left California. So you also have, so that's, I want to finish that point. Renter's insurance is a must, okay? You want a referral? Call Jeff, call myself. I also want to talk about regular insurance, right? So you've got this multi-residential apartment, and all of a sudden your insurance company sends you a letter and says they're not going to renew, or you didn't make the payment and they take advantage of it and stop and will not renew you, and you are behind the eight ball. So they call you, and what can you do for them?
Right. We have a AOA group insurance, and so, yeah, they can join into that as well, and we'll be able to get a quote for them. It's just, depending on the circumstances, things may cost more than what they were used to, but across the board, the prices have just gone up so much, and I think everybody's aware of that.
Right. So, and I said, oh, is it cheaper? And he said, well, it depends. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But if you can't find an insurance company that will take you, you just need to get insurance. Because getting sued is not cheap. That's going to be very expensive. So they could save some money because it's a group insurance. Maybe we'll have a conversation about that one day, and you can explain that to me. Can you explain it like in 30 seconds or less what that group insurance means?
Oh, we have it's Golden State Insurance that we're working through, and basically with everything we do, we just position ourselves as a low-cost leader. So they're searching and finding the best fit for you at the lowest price.
That right there is golden too. So what else can I ask you? I need do you know who Dennis Block is?
Yes.
I'm sure you do. I've had him on the show a couple of times. He's probably one of the largest eviction attorneys in at least in California. And but he's a low-end group, how would you call it? A mill. A lot of agents, a lot of attorneys that work with him, and you never work with the same attorney. I need you to refer a really good eviction attorney for me, or a real estate attorney. So if you can do that in the next day or so, I'd love it. And maybe we can have him on the show, and maybe the three of us can do another call.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Hey, buddy, you are wonderful. Go ahead.
Oh, if you're ever looking for an attorney or any contractor or vendor, go to AOAUSA.com. There's a Contractors and Vendors tab. If you allow it to know your location, it will bring up results in order of proximity. So whatever's closest to you is going to come up first, whether that's a general contractor, eviction attorney, or whatever it might
painter.
be.
Yeah, I got my painter. I'm going to have him. I'm going to hook you guys up. So that is very interesting. You go to AOAUSA.com. Apartment Owners Association USA.com. That's where you can get the information, and you're going to get a phone number. Call me, and I'll put you in contact with Jeff's team. But hey, buddy, God bless you, bro. That was great. Thank you so much. I know you were as nervous as I was. No, I'm just kidding. You did a great job. I will talk to you soon. God bless you, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Gil.
All right, Jeff. Nice talking to you, buddy. So there you go. I hope you guys got a lot of value in that. That is a great person, a great company, family-owned here in L.A. They've got offices in Long Beach, and they've got an office somewhere else. I know they got two offices, I think one in Van Nuys. You can literally walk in. So Real Estate Radio L.A. is right here in Los Angeles. I am your trusted host with talent on loan from God and saving the American dream one show at a time. Hey, JJ, can you still say God bless you in this country?
Yes.
You can? Well, God bless you, everybody. God bless our troops. And I hope your real estate is blessed too and full of love and a lot of equity. We'll talk to you next week.